Come and have a seat on the table of chat, the both of you. We've got Rowan, we've got Phil. My name's Mikey, what's your name?
Melanie.
Oh, I'm going to turn you up a little bit, Melanie. And what's your name?
Adam.
Adam, I'm going to turn myself down. I don't like that, so I'll turn myself back up a bit. I see what's going on here. And we just started, that's why I'm still adjusting it. But this is a pop-up talk show, we talk about anything. We haven't really got a subject for today. We're just going through what we've talked about on the previous days, such as the nature of reality, are we living in a simulation? Looks like Brad and Angelina have split up, and what else? Education. School uniforms, thank you. See, Phil's already picking this up. We talked about a bit about science, didn't we? A little bit about science. So that kind of, but has anyone got anything they want to get the ball rolling with? Any thoughts, comments, observations, suggestions, ideas, interjections? What's that?
It's a very awesome shirt you're wearing.
Oh, thank you, thank you. That's part. It's part of the kind of, I guess, the setup to try and get people to talk. Because if I look a little bit kind of silly and outgoing, it means that, you know, everyone else, it's a bit like the bad karaoke song, if you see what I mean. If people go, I can do better than that. And also today, I should say, this might put you off a little bit, but maybe the opposite. We've got these conversational analysts that are actually analysing the conversation and drawing conclusions, mostly about things like the shirt. Have
they started yet?
No, they haven't started yet. They're just getting their stuff together. You know, it's a Saturday morning. Scientists don't work really before at least 11:30 on a Saturday.
Have you been here since the beginning, since Thursday?
Yes, we've been here since the very beginning, since the opening, since the big bang of New Scientist Life, so to speak. Come and have a seat on the table of chat. We've got a whole bunch of people, but nothing really to talk about yet. We have got Rowan, we've got Phil, what's it again? Adam and Melanie, I'm Mikey. We don't have a subject yet, but I think we'll get one if we just keep chit-chatting away. Anything, Adam? What brought you here today? Have you got particular interest, science interest?
Yeah.
What is that interest?
Space.
Yeah?
Just anything about it.
Is space the final frontier, as far as you're concerned?
Sure.
Yeah? Yeah, okay. No?
No, definitely not. No.
What are the other frontiers that we could be exploring apart from space?
At atomic level, I suppose.
Yeah, okay.
Going inside rather than outside.
Journey to the inner space. I have to say, a lot of the chat here over the last couple of days has been informed by sci-fi films. Have you seen Journey to the Inner Space? No? Have you seen it?
Never even heard of it.
I think you're mixing two film titles there.
Am I?
In Inner Space is a film about a small, like, submarine and gets injected into
That's the
somebody.
one I'm thinking of, yeah.
And then, yeah.
Okay. And what was the other one? Journey to the Black Hole?
The Incredible Journey is the other one.
Is it?
It's basically the same film, but from the 60s as opposed to the 80s.
All right, okay. Well, have you seen any of these? Has anyone seen any of these?
Dennis Quaid. Yeah.
Yeah, you've seen it?
Yeah, I've seen both of whatever you're mashing together.
Okay. I mean, what do you think? We're talking about space from Star Trek, the final frontier, but what are the other frontiers of exploration that we just don't know about?
Oh, we've still got the oceans, haven't we?
Yeah.
There's a big space that hasn't been explored thoroughly.
Yeah. Is there anything to explore there, though?
Well, of course there is.
Is it just water?
It could just be water. It could just be life underneath.
Yeah, because we don't know if it's just water.
But it's so crazy because even though it feels like we should know a lot about the sea, they just keep finding new things. Something blew my mind about a year ago when I've discovered that there's like an ocean under the ocean.
An ocean under the ocean?
Yeah, which it doesn't.
No way.
It doesn't look like it. I couldn't really visually comprehend it, but it's basically like a type of water that's even heavier than regular water, and it exists at the bottom of the sea.
Is that heavy water?
I don't know. I think it's like really salty water or something.
Yeah.
And it actually looks like there's water underwater, as in like the surface of a lake, but underwater.
So it's like a sort of sub-water water.
Yeah. And there's really bizarre creatures that live in there, and I couldn't believe it. I don't know what I'm looking at here.
I mean, do they kind of like surf the lower water? Like, do you know what I mean? Like use it as a sort of surface?
I don't know. I think it might be. I have literally no idea. But all I know is that all the animals down there were sort of like white crabs and weird white worms. They're all very pale things.
Yeah.
A couple of things with really sharp teeth and.
Okay. Did you know there was an ocean under the ocean? No one's. I'm amazed by that. I'm slightly. Any reaction to that? The ocean below the ocean? No. What? How do you?
It's a bit early in the morning, so he's not
Yeah,
very
but-
conversational.
What you need is a bit of this special wakey juice.
Ooh.
It's a double espresso, and then you'll get kind of like into the groove, get excited about these oceans beyond the oceans. Okay, so where do we want to go with this? Do we want to talk about these? Do you want to talk more about the ocean beneath the ocean? Is there anything to say about it? Are there any other equivalents? What's that?
Don't really know much about it other than that it exists.
Yeah.
Giant squids are kind of interesting though. Like people thought those were legends for centuries, and suddenly they found out there's giant squids knocking about.
How big is a giant squid?
Probably about that size.
Really?
Well, I mean, maybe not that fat, but like that long. So they're massive,
Yeah.
massive things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are they dangerous?
I don't think they've ever killed anyone. At least not like in modern times. In Legends, I think they probably did.
Is that because when they get that deep, you're already dead anyway?
I don't know. I mean, my hunch would be that they have to be quite deep to survive anyway,
Yeah.
because they've got such a weight to them and they don't really have any bones. So if they come too close to the surface, they probably get, I don't know, decompressed or something, and it
Okay.
just will probably jellify. I don't know. But
A few autopsies on a few of them and found some interesting things in their stomach.
What
I
have they
can't remember
found in the giant squid stomach?
I'm failing to remember anything because I do need my wake-up juice too.
Okay.
But I think there's some sort of fishing nets and
Yeah.
shoes and
Yeah, all sorts of stuff.
yeah.
Okay, so there's all sorts of bits and pieces that have somehow been cast off by human beings and gone into the sea. I mean, that's quite common though, isn't it? Finding these human artifacts in the stomachs of large animals. What's that?
Unfortunately, yes. Lots of plastics, all those damn little bead things, and
Yeah.
plastic bags, like a great big plastic bag vortex. And it's
Yeah.
the one with the little ducks that had all fallen off off some big container ship, and all these little plastic ducks had all
Yeah.
swimming around in the ocean in a
Okay,
huge
so
vortex.
somewhere in the ocean there's like a little pool of plastic ducks, which is just as amazing as the ocean beneath the ocean. But does the detritus get down to all this plastic stuff? Does it get down to this sub-ocean level?
I don't know, but I can't imagine it's doing any good.
Yeah.
Because it all like grinds up in the torrents. Is just as soon as there's like strong currents and things, all this plastic is ground up, turns into sort of almost a powder that you can't separate from the water, and things
Right.
can't avoid eating it, breathing it, and yeah, I guess some of it probably sinks in the dead bodies of stuff.
Yeah.
Well, isn't there a certain percentage of plastic now in all the fish? Yeah.
So all fish have got a bit of plastic, not
Yeah.
just around the outsides.
Yeah. It's in the ecosystem and the food cycle now.
Mercury as well, I think.
Yeah.
I think I've read about that. Like, yeah, just from like industrial byproducts, mercury's risen in fish and stuff.
Are you bothered by this? All the plastic in the fish in the oceans? Do you eat fish?
No.
You don't
I'm
like fish?
vegetarian.
You're vegetarian? Okay, is that because of all the plastic going on?
No.
Why are you a vegetarian?
I'll be honest, I don't know.
Yeah, it just feels like
I've
the
never
right
eaten
thing.
meat or fish, so I don't
Yeah.
know.
Okay.
I can't be bothered really.
Come and have a seat on the table of chat. We're talking about a whole bunch of things. We're just starting here at Talkaoke. We have got Melanie, we have got Adam, we've got Phil, we've got Rowan, and possibly you two as well. Did you know there's an ocean beneath the ocean? We just found that out just now. There's a sub-ocean. Yeah, I've drawn the nets. Yeah, you can
gonna
Google
Google
the
this to
ocean,
find out
but
some facts.
so Rowan was talking about the ocean beneath the ocean. There's a few subjects on the table. We're not sure quite what's going to bite, so to speak, to use the angling analogy here. But I just found out that Adam's a vegetarian. He's not sure why, but it doesn't seem right to eat fish or animals. And
B12.
the B12. What's B12?
Yeah, your vitamin B12. I don't think you can get it without.
Yeah. Okay. Vitamin B12.
So do you take a supplement?
No, that's Phil. This Adam's a
sorry.
vegetarian.
Sorry.
But anyway, let's just get some. Oh, we got another face as well. So we got Rowan. What's your name?
Graham.
Graham. And we got Phil, Adam, Melanie. What's your name?
Christine.
And
Jeff.
Jeff. I'm Mikey. So there's a few subjects on the table. Do we want to go down the vegetarian thing? How do you get your B12? Do you want to go down the plastic in the ocean thing? The ocean beneath the ocean? The ocean of emotion? What do you want to talk about? You've just arrived, so of those subjects, has anything struck a chord with you?
Can we listen for a bit first?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Because people have
That's
started.
ideal. That's ideal,
Yeah.
really. Okay. Any of those subjects struck a chord with you, Graham?
Mostly the vegetarian.
Yeah. Are you a vegetarian?
No, I'm.
A waveritarian?
Well, after looking into some vegan literature,
Yeah.
I do kind of agree with the argument, although I haven't actually taken the jump myself yet.
Yeah. So you
I
agree
mean,
with
some
the
small
argument, but not
yeah.
the flavours.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
I've been too lazy so far to make the jump.
Okay.
Pretty much.
Is it about laziness? Any other vegetarians around the table? You're a
Yeah.
Oh wow! So there's quite a lot of vegetarians around and about the place. Why are you a vegetarian?
I don't kill for pleasure.
Okay.
That's simple as that.
But what about if someone does it in a factory for you, like miles
Well, I
away?
mean, by that logic, then a mafia don isn't responsible for the crimes that are committed in his name.
Yeah.
So, it's just killing by proxy is still killing. So.
Okay. All right. Any meat eaters here on the table? We've got one meat eater, meat eater, meat eater. You used to be vegetarian. Why did you give it up?
I think it's more natural. Like, we eat meat. We're
Yeah.
designed to eat meat.
Yeah. Yeah. Oops, hang on. So it's more natural to eat meat. Yeah.
But you're a glasses wearer. Those aren't natural.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Just saying, if it's like you're saying we're designed to, but we're not designed to. I'm very short-sighted as well. I've had laser surgery. We're not designed to be alive. We should have been killed by nature, but we.
What do you mean?
Well, because we've got poor eyesight, so
Yeah.
nature would have picked us off. But we've adapted
Why have
beyond
we got?
the need.
Why
for
have
that.
we got poor eyesight?
Because we've got technology that enables us to survive beyond the limit we should normally have been killed off at.
So it's not the technology that gave us the poor eyesight.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Could have evolved because, we have been reading for a long time now and doing not just reading but very close craft work.
Yeah.
So, it's just that, okay, I agree with you. In the old days, maybe short-sightedness was a disadvantage and animals died because of it. But could it not be an advantage? Did they not talk about watchmakers being short-sighted? And they can actually do fantastic watch building.
There's pretty much everyone around the table, or you've had laser surgery, don't know about you, Adam, but everyone else is a glasses wearer. I'm actually wearing contact lenses and glasses, and I'm a vegetarian, so how about that? But we're talking about why are so many people wearing glasses? Is there actually a reason? You're wearing glasses, I can see that, because I've got glasses on. Is there a reason why people wear glasses? Is it actually an advantage to actually be short-sighted? Is that what's going on? You're not wearing glasses, but welcome to the table. It's not an exclusive glasses-wearing thing. What's your name?
Hugh.
Hugh. So we're talking about. It came up because what's your name? Jeff. Jeff was saying that he used to be a vegetarian, but now he eats meat because he feels it's more natural. And then Rowan's saying it's actually not natural to be wearing glasses. But what's your name again? Sorry.
Christine.
Christine.
Yes.
Christine was saying that maybe there is an advantage to being short-sighted. Why are so many people short-sighted? Why are we?
I used to have really good eyesight,
Yeah.
but I read all the time for my
Yeah.
job, and
Yeah.
so my eyes have got worse and worse as time has gone by.
Okay.
So I would
it's
have
actually
been,
wearing out your eyes.
It's wear and tear from modern life, having to look at
Yeah.
close things.
Okay. Do you think you would be better off if you started off short-sighted, so you wouldn't have to bother about that?
Good point. I don't know.
Okay. I mean, have you got any views on this? Why are so many people short-sighted? Have you ever thought about? Are you short-sighted?
No.
No. Have you ever thought about it? Why so many people are walking around with glasses on?
No, not.
Okay. Are you a vegetarian?
I'm vegan.
You're a vegan. Okay. So we've got. How come we've got so many What?
It's in seeds, beans,
What are you
tofu,
talking about this? What are you
all
talking
that kind
about?
of thing.
There's
No, it's
something
only
missing.
cats that can't be vegetarian. They're
Only-
the only animals because they can't process their own vitamin B12.
I have to say, my
Can you
cat,
give me
my
some
cat
source?
likes. Hang on a sec. Let's spread this out to the.
I
You know,
can't-
let's spread this out to the whole table here. There's a controversy here about can we only get vitamin B12, not V12, from meat from animal products? Is it the case? Is it the case that cats can't be vegetarian?
Yes, that's true.
That's okay. These are some of the big controversies. My cat eats hummus chips. But anyway, that's another story.
That's the most middle class thing I've ever heard. That's one of those overheard in Waitrose type comments. My cat wouldn't eat the regular crisps, so I got him the hummus chips.
Yeah. Anyways, what's the thing?
Yeah, the B12 thing. That's
Yeah.
a long since shot down myth. B12 is absolutely bountiful in like kale, broccoli, lots of plants that are quite rich in sort of like minerals will have B12 in them as well.
Yeah.
Again, I've only lived on plants my entire life, and it's never, exactly,
Yeah.
never been an issue. Never come up when I've kind of had metal literature.
No.
Is there not something missing from your diet?
A nice big burger, a big juicy burger.
K2
It's
is
that
only
mountain.
produced
Is that a
by...
That's a
mountain?
mountain, isn't it?
No,
Katie?
vitamin K2 is produced by pasture-fed animals.
Okay.
It's a form of potassium, though. You actually get that in a lot of things like bananas, plantains, those kind of fruits that
Yeah.
have. I can't remember what the name of the type of food is, but like a fruit that has like long seeds, like in a banana.
Okay.
All of those have all of the K vitamins.
All right. Okay. Hang on a sec. Hang on a sec. We've made it very controversial. We've got some new faces, but
He's nearly 6'4". He's never
And he's
eaten
never-
any meat, no meat or fish. Never.
look at that giant man. He's a vegetarian. Look at that. He's larger than a Tyrannosaurus Rex. Have you got a final thought before you go?
Good luck with your research. Thank you.
Reese, is that what you call it? Have you got a final thought, Adam? No. No. Okay. Okay. So we've got some new faces at the table. Maybe we should quickly get a round of names. What's your name?
Lottie.
And
George.
and we've got Hugh, we've got Rowan, Graham, Phil, and Christine and Jeff, and I'm Mikey. Come and sit down. Come and get involved. There's a bit of controversy about do vegetarians are they lacking anything apart from a juicy steak? Is there anything in their diet that they don't get? Christine says, what about vitamin B12 and K2, which is also a mountain, apparently. And that's where we've got to so far. We've got another couple of faces on the table. What's your name?
Haley.
And
Michelle.
and what was it again?
Lottie.
And
George.
George. And
Joanna.
so where do we want to go with this? Do we want to talk about the vegetarian controversy? Do you want to talk about the short-sightedness controversy? Where do we want to go with this? Are vegetarians more likely to be short-sighted? You say?
I think no.
No?
I do think vegetarianism is the way to go because it's environmentally sound.
Right, okay. Why?
Because animals are consumers of resources,
Right,
and we should eat more vegetables.
okay. Okay, animals consume resources.
It's a relation between the field space an animal takes between the amount a vegetable takes. I mean, it consumes a lot more water and resources to breed a whole field of animals, for example.
Okay, but does that come across in the flavour? Okay, so any thoughts on this side? Should we all be going vegetarian for environmental reasons? That's what Joanna says. It's more about the environment. Consume less resources.
Much less meat, much
Yeah.
less. It should be mainly vegetable matter, beans, nuts and seeds. But
Yeah.
I think we need a little bit.
Yeah,
And the offal is very important.
yeah, okay.
So we
Why?
eat the whole animal. We don't waste anything.
Okay, so we need to just eat the whole animal,
Wild animals.
even what's that? Not in one sitting.
No, the whole
Keep
of
it-
London gets one deer once a week. The
Okay.
whole of London.
Okay.
Would that be okay?
Okay, what about one deer? I mean, there's plenty in like Roehampton, isn't there? Plenty of deer. So, rabbits.
Yeah, lots of rabbits.
Would you eat a rabbit?
Yeah.
Okay, the whole thing?
Well,
Not in one
most
sitting.
of it.
Yeah, okay. I'll just turn this one down a little bit. Okay, so are we eating too much meat? Are we consuming too many resources? Is it just the meat? Are there other things that we're consuming too much? Is that just? Yeah.
Can I ask him a question? How does he feel about lab-grown meat? Would you eat something grown in the lab?
Okay. Is that you're talking about Rowan?
Yeah, Rowan.
Oh, let's go around the table on this one. Would you eat a burger grown in the lab? Or?
If it tasted just as good, I
Yeah?
definitely would.
Okay.
But who knows?
Okay, so what is that the answer? Lab-grown meat, a burger grown in the lab. What do people think about that? I'm going to go around. I'm just going to give us a yes or a no, Graham.
Well, if there's no animal harm involved, then I don't see
Okay.
any problem. If it's just
So you
if
would
we
eat
just
the
make it, yeah.
You'd eat the petri dish meat.
Yep, totally up for it. I've never tried meat, so I'd be intrigued. It's probably the only way I'd be comfortable trying it. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't see any problem with it. Really.
Yeah. Okay. So it sounds like everyone. I mean, this is New Scientist Live, so no, people are not scared of petri dishes here. Lab-grown meat.
I'm up for it. Yeah.
Yeah?
Why not? Yeah.
Yeah, well, I eat corn, and that's grown in a vat, so it's kind of the same thing,
Yeah.
isn't it? Really, and that's high in protein.
Are you a vegetarian?
I'm a pescatarian.
You're a pescatarian. Okay.
I
Would
eat
you-
it, but I think it would have to be as tasty as the real thing.
Yeah. Okay. Do you think it could ever be tastier?
Or maybe one day in the future, but not for a long time.
Okay. We trust the scientists here.
I wouldn't choose it over a normal burger.
No.
No.
No. Okay. Lab-grown.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
I don't normally eat any red meat.
Right.
I eat liver, lamb's liver,
Yeah.
once a fortnight, 100 grams, roughly.
Right. Wow. Okay.
For the vitamins.
Yeah.
For the vitamins.
For the vitamins. Okay.
Would it be more resource intensive to grow it in a petri dish?
Okay. So you think you're actually not you're not sidestepping the resource issue?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's still an issue. But apart from that, yeah, I'd be happy to give it a go.
What about corn? You mentioned corn. Is that like actually? Because
Isn't that a fungi?
Yeah.
It's a fungi?
is it a fungi? A fungi? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Does that take up more resources, corn, than?
No, I don't think so. I think it's quite nutritional as well.
Okay. What's that?
It's more expensive.
More expensive than
to
what?
develop
Oh right.
than just breeding cattle.
Okay. So it takes a little bit more effort to develop.
But I think coming back on the resource issue, it would be orders of magnitude less resource intensive. Like, you know, to the point where I think it would become very profitable and become cheaper than meat very quickly if it was adopted. Just because I mean, it's like I don't know, producing anything on a massive scale.
So it's an economy of scale.
Yeah, economies of scale will just bring it down.
Okay. But isn't there an economy of scale going on with animal farming anyway?
Yeah, but it's got diminishing returns, and especially as the land resources have been taken up.
Okay, so the economy of scale doesn't always work. Should we all be vegetarian in order to liberate the world's resources from being consumed for? I mean, what would you do with all the land if we just had a couple of bean fields? What's that?
Grow beans.
Grow beans. What's that?
So in this country, it'd just be luxury one-bed flats for nobody.
Okay. So this is the plan we've got for the future. Everyone's going to become vegetarian. All those pastoral fields are going to be turned into flats.
Grow trees in the fields.
Yeah.
Plant more forests.
Okay. What sort of trees would you grow?
Apple trees.
Apple trees. Okay.
Walnut trees.
Okay. Give us a final thought, Phil. Thanks for being the very first person on Talkaoke today.
Final thoughts. What are those people doing? Are they using AI software?
Can you tell us what you're doing?
We're actually getting ready to start something special just for today, possibly also doing tomorrow. We're getting ready to have a remote team of scientists in addition to the scientists that we've got here that will be arriving shortly to analyze the data live. So we're seeing if we can get it set up so that some of our other science colleagues could do conversation analysis from around the UK and possibly from other places in the world can access the data as we're doing it and contribute observations on Twitter. So that's what we're up to at the moment.
So in effect, talking about lab-grown meat, this is a kind of like conversation lab, and that we're being analysed by scientists from around the world. I don't know how you feel about. How do people feel about that?
In that case, we haven't mentioned insects, and we should, because we need to think about the insects.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, did you mention them?
No. I saw the stand with eating insects, and I thought that's a really good idea, but I just don't think I can do it yet.
No. Why?
Because they look creepy. But I'd love to give it a go if I can steel myself, or they're suitably disguised.
I mean,
You get a badge. Some kids were very excited yesterday that they tried the bugs and got some free badges, so maybe that will be an incentive.
Okay. And who here, would you eat insects, Graham?
Maybe, but is that more moral than eating mammals? Eating insects?
What do you
Is it
think?
just-
Do you think it is?
Still,
Okay, I mean, is it a moral thing anyway? Because it seems like you were saying that going vegetarian is about the environment. It's not necessarily about the killing of the animals, murdering the animals.
That's a really good point. You know, is murdering a locust less ethically bad than murdering a cow?
What would you say?
I think I'm being speciesist by saying
Yeah.
It is. So I'm a bit worried, but I like the idea because there are lots of locusts around.
Yeah.
All the beans.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so we need to get rid of them, but we shouldn't waste them, so we have to eat them.
It's kill or be killed. They're going to attack our bean supply, so we have to eat them. Would you eat a locust or any other insect?
Yeah, I'd try it once. I don't think I'd be going back for more though.
Really?
No.
Have you tried it
No,
already?
I quite fancy it though.
Yeah. Okay. Locust.
If it became a thing though, wouldn't we just end up mass producing them and they'd just be farmed and then they'd just be exactly the same? We'd come back and we'd be in exactly the same cycle again.
Okay, so we'd just be back in the same situation, but instead of like all those cows in the fields, there'd just be fields of locusts everywhere. I don't know. Would it be the same? Someone tell me. It's not my job in the middle to.
I think we're back to vegetarianism actually.
Yeah.
I think it's got to be the petri dish meat and the beans.
Yeah. So you think the locusts? You sort of agree that we'll just end up with fields of locusts?
Yeah. And you know, you've got the ethical question. Why should they be, you know,
Yeah.
eaten when we wouldn't eat a cuddly cow or a cute, you know, furry animal?
Okay. So I mean, is the cuteness of an animal? Does that determine whether it should be eaten or not? And do we eat? We tend to eat the cuter animals, don't we, rather than the ugly ones. But because we don't, the locust. Is that a bit? Isn't that a bit weird? We like cuter animals. We like to eat cuter animals.
They have more fat on them, more
All right.
meat.
Okay, so they're sort of rounder and there's probably more tasty.
we are a bit arbitrary in the animals we choose. Like dogs, cats here, they're pets, they're off limits. And
Yeah.
then you go to another four-legged animal that's just as conscious and can be just as cute, but we'll eat that happily.
Okay, so we don't tend to eat dogs and cats, but we do eat like cows and sheep and pigs, which are, what's that?
Which are cuter than cats, rabbits.
Okay, and we know that cats can't go vegetarian, apart from my cat that's on hummus chips. Anyway, there's a whole other story. Yeah.
Is it immoral to keep a pet cat?
Okay, why would it be immoral?
It only eats meat.
Okay. All right.
It's a fair point because you're a vegetarian and you keep a cat, therefore you must be consuming meat by proxy. So
Yeah.
does that make you not a vegetarian for having a pet?
Yeah.
leave my cat out of this.
I'm in trouble now. This is
Or
not
does it
about
just
me.
live on the hummus chips?
This
Yeah,
is not
sorry,
about me.
you're right.
But actually, I don't have the cat anymore because it was my girlfriend's cat, and sadly we split up, and she took the cat. But she's a vegetarian. Yeah, she's a vegetarian as well. So is she being hypocritical by keeping a cat? Still the same question, but luckily I'm not involved anymore. Yeah, exactly. Give us a final thought.
Vegetarianism, I think, still comes out tops.
Yeah.
But
okay.
thank you for the conversation. If
I
you
mean,
like.
before you go, how do we persuade more people to become vegetarians if it is a pressing environmental concern?
I think making vegetarian food available in restaurants and pubs so it's mainstream rather than niche.
Yeah, not just the ubiquitous tagliatelle pesto or a mushroom stroganoff. Need to vary it a little bit. Okay, is that where we want to go? Do we want to talk about vegetarian meals in pubs? Could they be more varied? Are you those vegetarians around the table, are you fed up with mushroom stroganoff?
They could be cheaper. It really bugs me that veggie food, especially in gastropubs, is the same price as meat. And there's no logic to that. It's just because I guess you're really paying for labour when you're buying food, not the actual ingredients these days. But
okay,
it just really bugs me.
Okay. Okay. What's that?
Well, we do our weekly shop together, but he pays for more because he gets meat and I don't. And it does add up when you add meat to your weekly shop.
Right. Okay. So in the supermarket, it costs less if you're a vegetarian. Hello.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. We've got Jeff, we've got Christine, we've got Graham, we've got Rowan, we've got George and Lottie. I'm Mikey, what's your name?
I'm Charlotte, good morning. Hi everyone.
Hello. Have you got anything to say about the vegetarianism stroke pub thing?
Well, I wasn't hearing what you were saying, but I am a vegetarian. I'm an avid vegetarian for many
What's
years
the difference
now.
between a vegetarian and an avid vegetarian? Does that mean you try and campaign for more people to become vegetarians, or?
No, I just quietly within myself know that I'm sure that vegetarianism is the way for me.
Okay, so it's not like a zealous vegetarian.
No.
It's more of a kind of certainty about your dietary choices.
That's right.
Okay. And I just want to ask the meat eaters around the table, is it sometimes a bit annoying having these conversations with vegetarians? Because they...
Absolutely not. I think people eat far too much meat. But what concerns me is that you're never going to persuade people to eat more vegetables if you tell them they can't have any.
Yeah, so you've got...
And a lot of vegetarian meals have got loads of dairy included.
Yeah.
So you're still keeping animals, and actually sometimes the way they keep them is more cruel than the way they kill them.
Okay. All right. Okay. What do we think about that? The dairy issue?
Yeah, I completely agree. This is why I'm vegan, because I actually don't really separate dairy from meat that much when I think about it. Occasionally I'm a bit hypocritical when options are limited. Like I had a thing with goat's cheese yesterday because there just wasn't that many options. But trying to steer clear of that makes me feel better.
Okay. Anything on this side? What people think about the cheeses? The many cheeses out there?
I think with options you either get very full or not full at all with veggie options, because it's either vegetables or, as you say, a dairy and pasta option.
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, what do you think about this question about the pubs? Because it's been brought up. Hello. Welcome to Talkaoke. Come and have a seat. Are you annoyed? Give us a final thought, actually, before you go.
Oh, I don't know.
Are you a vegetarian, Graham?
No, I eat less meat than I used to, and I tend to go for the vegetarian option now when I'm out. I would like to go fully vegan. It does seem a bit difficult when you're not making your own meals all the time.
Yeah.
But I fully agree that other animal products should be thrown in with meat. Meat shouldn't be treated as a different thing.
Okay, so we should actually be reducing our dairy intake as well.
Well, like eggs and dairy and leather and whatever else you get from harming animals, it's still the same.
All right. So, okay, good point. Come and have a seat on the table of chat. At the moment, we're talking about everyone is going vegetarian, basically. You're not? Why?
Why am I not going vegetarian? Starts off with growing up on an arable farm.
Yeah.
So we grew a lot of foods, wheat, barley.
Yeah.
And in doing that, we killed a lot of animals. Notably rabbits and pigeons and geese, because they eat the crop.
Right.
And if you want to grow the crop to feed the people, you have to make sure the animals don't eat the crop instead.
So you kill all the wildlife in sight?
Not all the wildlife in sight, because you can't, and actually you don't want to kill it all. But if you want ethical eating, then I would suggest rabbit pie and pigeon pie.
Okay.
Because if you want to grow the wheat to feed the vegetarians, you're going to have to kill the animals, eat the animals too.
Okay, so you like that idea?
That's brilliant. Thank you.
Okay, so pigeon pie, rabbit pie. We need to get rid of all these rabbits. Have you got a view on this?
Yeah, I'm not going vegetarian.
Yeah.
Because human body needs protein, animal protein.
Yeah.
And needs iron.
Yeah.
Which can only, which human body absorbs best from meat.
Okay.
However,
yeah.
After a certain age, you can go vegetarian quite easily. It's not going to do harm. Children shouldn't be vegetarian because the brain doesn't develop without certain fatty acids, which only exist in the animal product. Well, fish is good, but fish farming is more damaging to the marine life than any animal farming to the land. So I'm not going vegetarian. It has to be managed. You can't eat meat every day. It's not good for you.
Okay.
Twice a week is enough.
Twice a week is fine. Okay. What about anything from this side? From the go.
Oh, thank you. I've been vegetarian since I was 5. I think my brain sort of did develop okay.
Yeah.
I hope it did.
Have you got any evidence that your brain has developed properly?
No, maybe my brain's not developed enough for me to provide that evidence. I'm not too sure, but I like to think my brain developed just okay.
Okay. All right. Any other vegetarians around? Do we actually need? Is it? Sorry, what's your name?
Maya.
Do we agree with what Maya's saying? Come and get involved. Have a seat. Have a seat. You don't have to say anything if you don't want to. No. Jeff's not said much. You can just sit there, and it just makes me look more busy. And then more people want to come, and then on it goes. But at the moment, there's a bit of a controversial subject. We're talking about eating meat. We started talking about eating meat. Do we need to eat meat? Should we be eating insects? Should we be growing meat in the lab? Is there an environmental concern? Maya has said that children need animal products, need to eat those in order for their brains to develop and to grow, and the iron and the protein and all that kind of stuff. Oh, you didn't say oh yeah, fatty acids, yes. So you're saying that you've been a vegetarian since you're 5 and your brain has... Sorry?
It seems fine.
It seems fine. It could be maybe possibly develop more. It's hard to know without having an identical twin sister that was fed meat. We don't know. But what do other people say here?
Yeah, I mean, I would actually dispel these myths. They are myths.
You think that's a myth?
Absolutely. There's objective evidence about this kind of stuff. I'm similarly vegetarian, vegan, in fact, pretty much my entire life. I'm going to toot my own horn, I didn't get an MSc in philosophy because I do or do not eat fish.
You've got an MSc in philosophy?
Yeah. And,
okay.
And philosophy of science. And, that brain didn't suffer from not eating fish or anything like that. You can get the omega oils from flaxseed, linseeds, omega 369. There's loads of these different things. It's objectively untrue that we need meat.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, well, we've got a new face to the table. What's your name? Have you got a view right now, or do you just want to say your name?
No, it's just Jason. Yeah.
Jason, just listening at this point.
We have entire nations, large parts of India are vegetarian, virtually vegan. There are 1 or 2 fatty acids that, if your diet is not quite right, you can have a problem with. But overwhelmingly, any modern vegetarian diet is sufficient.
Right.
I like meat, I eat meat. There is no deficiency with a vegetarian diet. The observation I find interesting is the by-kill that you get from growing the vegetarian food.
Yeah.
In terms of ecological impact, modern farming to feed 7 billion people, it's an absolute waste zone. Because, what was a field, what was a forest or a meadow or a glen or upland is now farmland.
Yeah.
And vast tracts of the world are farmland, and it doesn't matter whether you're ultimately feeding that for vegetarians or via animals for meat eaters.
Give us a final thought before you go.
You've wiped out the ecosystem.
Okay, so basically what you're saying is whatever agricultural product you produce, you are killing animals. Okay.
My final thought would be vegetarian 2 or 3 days a week.
Yeah.
Would be the way forward for everyone.
Okay, so at least be a if you can't be a vegetarian, a full-time vegetarian like these people, be a part-time vegetarian. We've got some spare seats on the table. Come and join in. Come and have a seat on the table of chat. We're talking about the science behind vegetarianism. Maya?
Okay, if you look into history of religion, the fasts, when you don't eat meat, it's present in all the religions. So you eat meat part-time of the year, you don't eat much, and that's really good for you. It's actually good for you not to eat once a week at all.
Not to eat at all once a week.
It restarts your immune system.
Okay.
And again, meat has to be very high quality. You don't need quantity, you need quality. And growing meat in the lab takes out the main point that animals should be exposed to the sunlight.
Right.
Then it develops certain chemicals in the food which are essential. Getting a pig or chicken, which been locked in the shed, eating that pig or chicken locked in the shed, it doesn't do any good.
Okay, so the factory farmed meat is actually lacking in certain vitamins, minerals, all kinds of stuff. What's your name?
My name's Ken.
Ken, have you got anything to say at this point?
Yeah, I've been a meat eater all my life. And I've always believed in eating meat, that humans are animals that eat meat and it's good for them and everything else. And I've always believed that, and I've always eaten meat. I've got 12-year-old grandchildren who are twins. Now, I won't eat rabbits because I can't eat a little cuddly rabbit.
Yeah.
My granddaughter, she has taken that one step further, and all her life she's never been able to eat meat because it's all cuddly and it's nice, and she can't eat meat, and she never has eaten meat, and she's perfectly healthy, mentally, physically, everything.
Right.
Her twin brother
Yeah.
is a meat eater.
Yeah.
And as far as I can see, my daughter's given them no different sort of diet particularly, other than Millie doesn't eat meat.
Okay.
And they've developed apparently exactly the same.
So there is a kind of
confounds
twin
me.
experiment going on.
It really confounds me, but they
Yeah.
seem to be both perfectly healthy.
Okay, so that is a kind of twin experiment, not identical twins. So maybe the scientists will be upset about that, but we take it anecdotally. So, I mean, what is it, all this about? This, I mean, why is it generate so much passion? This question about to eat meat or not eat meat. Are these vegetarians being a little bit hypocritical? Sorry, we didn't get your name. What's your name?
Guy.
Guy is saying basically, in commission, just as we commission the meat by going to the supermarket and the animals get killed along the chain, those animals are still getting killed when we get our bagel or croissant, because that wheat means that the animals die anyway. So we can't take that moral high ground that we'd like to as vegetarians.
Yeah. I'd argue it's because we lack farming methods that sort of like mitigate that. I mean, you could imagine a type of farm that is free from those kind of pests. I know what you're getting at though, and I do completely agree. But I just think that's sort of I feel like it's skirting around the issue a bit.
So the proposal would be that in some way you protect tens of thousands of acres of land from. Yeah, I mean this is well, it's theoretical, but if it's a proposal for sort of a moral position, well, can we reduce the by-kill? It was exactly what we're looking at, and what we do at the moment, we drive around the field with shotguns. We kill the rabbits, we scare off the pigeons. You would be looking to literally fence off, like you do with raspberries. You put raspberries in a raspberry cage, but you'd be looking at covering the country.
Yeah.
All the arable farmland, all the farming for lettuces, all that kind of stuff. The whole lot would have to be covered, walled over, because pigeons fly. So you've got to put nets in, geese fly, you've got to put nets in, rabbits dig under things, you've got to bury the net inside the net. The thing about the animals is they have nothing better to do than try and eat your food and make more animals.
Okay, so those pesky animals, they're actually getting into, they're just there and they're going to take your food, so you have to kill them. Even if you're a vegetarian, a veggie farmer, farming vegetables, the animals are going to die. Is there a way around it? Can we do farming without this? Is it just about growing vegetables that animals don't like broccoli? Give us a final thought before you go.
That was really interesting. Good luck with stopping people eating so much meat, but I think we have to live in the world and not think that we can control the world.
Okay, so we're thinking we can control the world too much. That's where this is coming from. Jeff?
I stopped being a vegetarian for the reasons you've described, and it's not just if you shoot the rabbit with a shotgun, even if you put a fence, it's going to starve because it's got nothing to eat. So we're constantly in competition with everything else that lives here.
Okay.
And you might as well be honest about that.
Okay.
And just eat a burger, which I think I'll do.
Okay. Are we just driving people to the burger stall outside there? I don't know. Have you got a final thought for this session?
I think it's all down to individual choice in the end. I think as long as we do whatever we want with our food, as long as we stay healthy, that's what's important.
Okay, so staying healthy.
Final thought, I continue to monitor my twins, and I can't help but still feeling slightly concerned about the granddaughter, who's kind of not eating meat at all.
Why does she not eat meat?
Because she thinks they're little cuddly animals, little calves and little rabbits and little pigs, and she just has never been able to face the idea of eating them.
Would she eat an insect? Because we were talking about this earlier on.
I think that's unlikely.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we'll feed insects to animals to eat, but not
What about if you told her all the rabbits are dying from the food the vegetables that she's eating?
Well, she still wouldn't change.
Okay. All right. So this is Talkaoke. Thank you, Ken. We need some more punters around the table. Come and get involved in this. At the moment, we're kind of talking about farming, consuming the world's resources, choices, that kind of thing. Are you off, Maya? Have you got a final thought?
Well, good quality meat twice a week is enough.
Yeah.
You don't need more than that to be healthy. So our problem is not quality. It's not meat in itself. It's too much meat.
Okay.
And it's really too much meat can kill you.
Yeah. Okay. So we've got an issue about quantity over quality.
Meat is also quite a high status food.
Yeah.
And you look, as nations become richer, one of the things that happens is their meat consumption goes way up because it's a high status food.
Right.
There's a lot of British pork at the moment going to China because as the Chinese get richer, they're eating more and more pork.
Right.
There is, and raising animals for food is much more resource intensive than growing vegetarian food.
Yeah.
And at the moment we have a balance that, well, we have a food system that basically ignores that for the most part. And we do need to look at rebalancing our bigger economic footprint.
Okay.
Happy animals taste better. Let's have fewer happy animals on our plates.
Okay. Happier animals on the plate. A smiling pig is a tasty pig. Okay, so this is Talkaoke. It's a free-form talk show. We talk about whatever, and I feel like we're talking in a way. We're going more onto this question about resources and this balance, less resource-heavy way of feeding ourselves. Is it possible, or will it just lead to more people? They're the questions on the table. Come and get involved. Everyone's welcome to have a seat on the table of chat. So far, we have got Guy, we've got Rowan. What's your name?
I'm Josh.
And
Sophia.
And Jason. And
Anna.
Troy. Joe. Horace.
Was it?
Horace.
Jason, have you got something to? You've been sitting listening. Have you?
Well, first of all, I've always been eating meat. I tried about 2 months ago to be vegetarian. I thought, let's see. I read a couple of books, and one of them was talking about the amount of time it takes to digest meat compared to vegetarian food. Does it take longer or shorter? Well, for me, I was actually at the time suffering from IBS at the time, so I thought, let's try that and see if it made a big difference. I did feel different afterwards, but I think, especially in the UK, there is a lot of advertising for meat products, and I don't think there's a lot of push for being a vegetarian here. There's possibly for me, I think I went back to eating meat because
of the marketing.
Yeah, and also it's quite simple to just quickly maybe just give in. Maybe a bit too weak at the time, but hopefully I'll try and go back to it.
So you think it is a way ahead going on the vegetarian diet?
Possibly, and also due to the fact that the meat industry is mass producing and how the welfare of all the animals as well.
Okay, we'll come to you in a second, but we need to involve these new people.
So are we talking about meat eating, pros and cons as such?
Well, I mean, the way Talkaoke works, we can talk about whatever. I mean, right now, we're kind of, this all started actually from a question about short-sightedness. Okay. Or something like that. No, was it? I can't remember. It was something to do with, is it natural to, we're talking about what's natural for us and what's not natural. Is it natural to eat meat? And then we talked about the pros and cons of eating meat, the ethical element of it. And then we moved, I think now we're more talking about, although there's the health element as well, but there's also the question of resources. Are we using our resources well enough? And Guy comes from a farming family and basically was explaining about how growing any large crop destroys habitats. You end up killing animals as pests. And it's just the way farming's done, and I think that's quite an interesting insight. So that's basically what's on the table at the moment.
It's actually really interesting because round the corner we have the pestront, which has got the insects and
which are really gross.
Yeah, tasted as well as you might expect.
Did you try one?
Yeah, we have. What was it? The beetle.
The June beetle.
Yeah, what was that like?
It was just like, the cinnamon test, and it's like you want to just spit it out, but it was like not cinnamon.
Yeah.
So you just bit into it, and then it was just like powdery.
What's the cinnamon test?
When you get a spoon of cinnamon, and you just have to keep it in your mouth as long as you can.
Really?
But
I've never heard of this.
Oh well, it's a really stupid thing.
Yeah.
Basically, it's just like a massive spoon of cinnamon powder, and then you put it in, and then basically
it just
all what
draws
happens
out all your
is
saliva,
you just you just end up coughing and then are in
Yeah, there's
cloud
a big. Yeah, okay. So it's a bit like that eating a June beetle.
Yes.
Okay. You're nodding as well. Have you got experience of eating beetles?
Yeah, we all ate one together.
Yeah, come and sit down. Come and have a seat. Did you share a beetle or did you have a beetle each?
We each took a separate beetle,
Yeah.
ate them all together,
Yeah.
and then all revulsed at the same time.
Okay, so that is kind of repulsive to eat insects, but do we have to eat insects? You're saying no, we don't have to eat insects.
Well, this is because on the way here, about 4 months ago, I kind of went vegetarian-ish, taking steps towards it. So sort of pescatarian, vegetarian. And I was researching into whether I would be breaking vegetarianism by eating these insects, and by definition, yes, they're animals. But from my standpoint of vegetarianism, which is for methane production and obviously the health and pain aspect of the animal, the insects simply don't, as far as it's sought. Insects don't have the organs to feel pain, as pain is both a physical and an emotional response apparently. So I didn't think that I was breaking it, because these insects haven't suffered whatsoever.
The insects don't suffer by getting crushed up.
No,
and cooked
and also
or
it was
whatever.
done by rent-a-kill, so I have a feeling that they just got what they got and they just served it up.
Okay, so they've just got like a whole warehouse full of insects they're trying to get rid of anyway. Come and have a seat on the table of chat. Go ahead.
There's a very interesting point there about taking cuddly animals that are clearly animals that you can sense pain and respond, and coming down to simple organisms such as insects, which they certainly can respond to the environment, and if you poke them with a stick, they know that. So they are sensing things, and whether they have the mental capacity to sense it as pain is more debatable. But certainly as an organism, you can stress them by poking them with a stick, so that they are suffering. But then you find that when you cut down a tree in a forest, the tree gives off chemicals that changes the behaviour of the other trees that haven't been cut down yet. Are those trees stressed? Is that cruel to the tree any more or less than it's cruel to the insect? Than it's any more? There's a scale of pain and cognition. At one end we have humans where we believe ourselves to be full cognition and full pain reception. At the other end we say that a cabbage doesn't have any feelings.
Are we at the top of the feelings tree, do you think?
We don't know. Certainly not the sensing tree. Whether we're probably from an emotional and intellectualized, we are the only organism that sits around in a table in a hall in London debating this.
As far as we know.
All the other animals. I haven't seen a squirrel council where they debate whether it's ethical to eat the nuts or not. I think we're the only ones that do.
Okay. Interesting point.
So how do you know that? So when you cut down a tree, it releases chemicals, and then so that therefore that indicates that it experiences pain. Well, surely it could just be a response.
Okay, how do we know that trees are stressed? So let's bring these people in though. Do you feel bad about cutting down trees if you've cut down a tree?
I think it's the fact that as humans we can actually make decisions, whereas trees they're not really, they're left to their own devices, they can't actually physically move or make decisions.
Okay, do trees make decisions?
I'd add to that, I'd say it's very easy to consider ourselves top of the sensory tree, as we said, because any animal or organism that has a means of communication, so dogs hurt them, they'll whine, they'll yell. We feel pain, we'll express it. With insects and trees, there's nothing, there's only chemicals, and it's very hard to.
It's hard to know if
they're experienced.
Do we know, are we just being anthropocentric? Are we being anthropocentric by saying we're at the top of a sensory tree, just because we sit around talking about the ethics of eating stuff?
Just back to the question about how do I know about this about the trees, the answer is I read it in New Scientist.
Okay, so plug for New Scientist. I read that in New Scientist as well, actually. We've got Rick, our cameraman, you've come and sat down the table. It must mean that you've been sucked into the discussion.
I don't know if it's been said, but apparently a tree does know when it's being eaten.
A tree knows
what plant knows when it's being eaten, yes. I don't know if they feel pain or not, but they do. They are being eaten.
Okay, are we at the top of the sensory tree? Are we the most sensitive of all creatures and beings?
because I'm pretty sure like cephalopods have more like nerves in their arms than we do in our entire bodies, or something.
Okay, so
very sensitive animals.
What is a
Eagles have,
cephalopod?
Squids off to my fish.
So back to the squid thing.
But it's just like they're very sensitive creatures. Eagles have like better eyes than us, so I don't think we're like the most sensory developed. Yeah, we're not the most developed creatures.
We're not the best at anything. It's intellectual discourse.
Yeah.
But we are very good sensory in a lot of ways. We've got good vision, it's not the best. We've got good smell, it's not the best. We've got good touch, etc. We're very good across the board.
We've got a good portfolio of senses.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we're talking about vegetarianism, but now we've sort of moved on a little bit. We're talking about, are we the top of the sensory tree? Are there other animals that are more sensitive? Apparently octopus and squid are quite sensitive. They've got a lot of nerves running around their bodies. Trees get stressed when one of their mates is getting chopped down. Well, I say mate, they may not like that tree, they still get stressed. We don't know, that's the thing, we just don't know. So that's what we're talking about at the moment. Are there other animals that have got claims to be more sensitive, more humane? That sounds good. Yeah.
Humanity's going to be a different area because it's taking sensitivity to completely different areas. Essentially, how humans behave towards each other. It's so far developed from where the animals are. We're able to give time for leisure and recreation and education, someone whereas other animals are still in that side.
Animals are really... Are there any animals that do leisure?
I think there are some, apes and dolphins and stuff like that. Yeah, I don't know enough about enough animals, unfortunately.
Okay, well, we're out of scientists. Someone around here is bound to know more about this side of the table. Are there other animals that, I know it sounds a bit weird, that are humane, that do leisure activities, that...
primates, mind.
Okay.
Let's say dolphins, very intelligent, and they help each other out in ways that we might recognize as humane as well.
Okay, so maybe dolphins.
Chimps and the RX, they have breeding processes when individuals die. They have social bonding, such as grooming, picking. So whilst we might not quite consider those leisure activities, they are not fundamental eating, breeding, surviving activities.
So let's call them non-survival activities.
They're sort of social secondary activities that they have time for.
Okay.
We call that leisure.
Okay. Okay, we don't know what dolphins call it because we don't know dolphin language.
Yeah, I kind of agree. There's lots of examples of like social materialism in animals, but there are documented things about esoteric activities, and specifically dolphins, cetaceans, big whales and things. You know that when you've seen like the images of humpback whales jumping out of the ocean, there is no objective use for that. It seems they do it just because they get an endorphin boost out of it.
Yeah, the breaching that the whales do, these big jumps, that looks like fun to me. I'd enjoy doing that.
Okay, so if you're a whale, you do that. So whales do fun stuff. It's not just human beings.
We don't ultimately know if that's their motivation, but certainly if I put myself in their flippers, I'd enjoy that. Okay. Maybe they do.
Okay, so I mean, are we kind of stuck? You mentioned the word, well, I sort of mentioned it really, anthropocentric. Do you know what that means, anthropocentric? What does it mean?
Like human-centered, we project ourselves onto the world around us. So like when you see, I don't know, a tree that looks like a person and you call it a he or something like that.
For example, like when Guy was saying, if I was a whale, I would enjoy jumping around.
Yeah, so, because I would enjoy jumping around like that, therefore the whale enjoys it. I'm making the whale human when in fact it's a whale.
Are we my question is, are we stuck in that mode? Do we have to think of ourselves as human beings? Or can we sort of escape? Can we escape that?
It gets very deep very quickly.
Yeah, sorry, maybe that was going too deep. Hello. Yes, good. Have you got a view on this? Are we stuck in an I can't even say it for some reason. I've not had enough anthropocentric frame? Are we stuck seeing ourselves as human beings? Later, yeah.
We have so much self-awareness that maybe we can't escape that. Maybe that's a fundamental part of what it is to be human, that we are stuck with that awareness of ourselves and that constant concept of how we're viewed by others as well.
Okay, so it's because we've got this self-awareness in a way. We have to. Are we stuck in an anthropocentric frame, whatever that means? What do you think on this side? Can we see things as other animals?
I think maybe we see ourselves as superior, and therefore it's hard for us to feel like the others. Maybe what we need is for real or fictitious aliens come to Earth, so we can feel inferior, and then maybe that will allow us to adopt a different frame of mind.
Okay, so if there were aliens, maybe we could project what life was like for other species, because we'd have other high. Do we think of ourselves as superior to all other animals?
When you step on an ant, do you feel guilty? That kind of question pops up again.
Yeah. When you step on a person, do you feel guilty?
Well, yeah, you do. You say sorry when you step on someone. You bump you bump into someone around here. You say sorry and carry on. But when you step on an ant, you just don't really bother. Don't say sorry to the ant.
Okay, so we do think of ourselves as superior. Is that right to think of ourselves as superior to all the other animals, even the dolphins?
I already feel like that. Like I might have a dog, and he'll run around and he'll tread on whatever he wants, and he cares less than me.
Okay.
That's just part of animal nature, isn't it? Like, yeah, I think that there's just there's a built-in lack of care for things which you don't really need to care about.
Okay.
We have this discussion at home as well about whether the cat is a person, and my son has convinced me that the cat is in fact a person and is a member of the family.
Why?
And is not inferior.
Why?
Thinks, clearly cares about us, and is an independent entity.
Okay. Okay. Can animals be described as being having personhood?
But then I think that kind of raises the question, if you can think of a cat as a person and it's part of your family, why can't you do the same with, say, a cow or a lamb? Why is it okay to kill a cow or a lamb and eat that? But yeah, it's not okay with, say, a dog or a cat or a domestic animal. What makes a domestic animal domestic?
Okay, come and have a seat.
But if you raised a cow in the same way that you raised a cat, then would you still have that same connection?
Hang on a sec, because we've got you face the table. You've come and sat down. Have you got a point to make straight off the bat, or you just because you seem to sort of be rushing down to the table?
No, I wasn't rushing.
Oh, yeah, you wasn't
rushing
okay.
at all. No. I've got lots of opinions.
You've got lots of opinions. Okay, well, just park it for. I just thought you were like desperate to say something. Come and have a seat on the table.
Listen.
Okay, excellent. So at the moment we're talking about personhood. Can other animals be considered to be people? Like, what's your name, sorry?
Alan.
Alan's cat, for example, Alan's family cat.
Animals have personalities.
Yeah.
From the world of horse breeding, when a foal is born, one of the first questions is, what's the temperament of that foal? Is that a chill, relaxed foal, or is that a calm, or is that a very flighty, panicky foal? And because they can walk usually within sort of half an hour to an hour, you can see this behaviour very quickly, and that's sort of almost the innate starting point behaviour, nature of that animal. And dogs are the same, cats are the same, and all the animals which have some kind of social relationship with other animals, they have some kind of set of behaviours.
So you're saying that personality comes as soon as they're born?
Yes. And I think it's true for people too, we project onto the cat a personality. Whether the cat subjectively feels that personality from the inside, we'll never know because we're not a cat.
Right.
And if we were a cat, we probably couldn't think about the question.
Okay, all right, so interesting points here. I mean, when a horse is born, it's already got a personality, says Guy. What do people think about that? As a horse, you're kind of nodding, do you agree with that? Does anyone know anything about horses here? I'm from Hackney, there's not that many horses there.
I was just going to say that if you have like an animal, they would kind of start off with the ability to kind of adjust to a human, but for non-domestic animals, they're not really cared about as much, whereas domestic animals, they do get cared about, and therefore they would show that back to you.
Okay, why are they doing that?
Because so that they can kind of like earn your trust and feel like more comfortable around you, whereas the other ones.
Okay, so domestic animals are like almost born trusting us. I'm kind of intrigued by this horse personality thing. I don't know what other people. It's kind of your talk show, it's not mine. So, are you interested in this horse personality thing on this side?
Why would they not be able to have personality? As far as a horse's personality can go, I mean, just based on their like chemical makeup and their DNA, I mean, they're all going to be slightly different. And if you call that a personality difference, then yeah, that's just what you call a personality difference.
But do we have our personalities as soon as we're born? Have we got them?
I think temperament is a slightly different thing to personality, and I think a temperament is innate, but a personality sort of comes with nature, nurture, and your environment that you're born into.
Okay.
I would have thought personality is much more of an environmental factor. It depends on who you're brought up by, how you're brought up, who you talk to, who you're friends with, rather than something you're sort of born innately with. But I don't know. I don't know if that's the same with horses or...
Okay. What's that?
I think you can have a starting point just based on just purely biological factors, and then your environment determines where your personality goes from there.
Okay. Are we born with our personalities, with our temperaments, you might say? Do we pick them up along the way? Guys' horses, are they your horses or the... Guys' mother's horses are born with a temperament. And they have a describable temperament as soon as they're born. Are humans like that? Do we pick up... how do we get our personalities?
Temperament's slightly different, and this is my son. He was very sort of... very unhappy kind of baby, but he's a very laid-back child, and I think it's a personality that comes in as you grow up. But babies have been shown to have different temperaments from quite an early age, but that doesn't necessarily set their personality as they grow up.
Have you got any other children?
No, just one was enough. One angry child was plenty.
But you're laid back, you're chilled now. Have you got a view? Let's just quickly get a round of names actually. So we know Guy, but we haven't. So my name's Mikey. We've got Guy. What's your name?
Millie.
And
Christina.
And
Ethan.
Ethan, yeah.
Ellie.
Jake. Horace.
Joe.
Tom.
And Jason. And
Ilakia.
And we've got spare seats. Come and get involved in this. So I guess we're talking at the moment about where do we get our personality from? Where do we get our temperament? Are we born with it? Is it environmental factors?
Maybe where you're born affects, and where you grow up affects how you are when you're grown up.
Yeah.
So if you are born in a place where you have to survive more than be with people and socialise, like your mind is focused more on getting food than like...
So you've got a survival mentality.
Yeah.
Okay. So you could, that's the environment, I suppose, that you grow up in.
I think that she was kind of right there, because if you could be born with the ability to have a personality and you just adapt to the people who are kind of growing you up and you become used to their style, so that's why people have different personalities. And you can just have, say you're born in a regular family, you would just adapt to your parents' style and...
So you get it from your parents, you get a sort of regular personality. Is that where personality comes from? Have people got the same personalities as their parents around the table?
I was going to say, I don't know if horses mimic their parents or the other creatures around them, but for humans certainly I think the main factor is who you grow up around. You know, people will say, oh, you know, you act like your dad, you sound like your dad, you've done the same sort of weird little thing as your mum, and certainly as humans we pick that up as we grow up, but I'm not sure about that.
When you say, for example, that you sound like your dad, well, no, but I mean that can happen for several reasons. One is, for example, if you basically look like your dad, you essentially physically are very similar to your father. My uncle and one of his sons will look almost interchangeable, and they sound the same because they literally have the same. They'll have the same kind of vocal tract, and they've lived in the same house and they have the same accent.
Have they got the same personality?
They're similar. They're not the same. And personality, when you're born, you sort of have your starter for 10, if you like. That's not the be-all and end-all. And one of the things about the brain that is interesting is it's malleable. It changes over time with the environment that we grow up in, the experiences we get, and that makes each one of us different.
Okay, I just have some new faces at the table. We're just talking about where do we get our personality from? Where does it come from? Does it come from our parents, our environment? Is there another little special magic element to it?
I think the experiences that guys just mentioned is quite important, because you can be one, you can respond to things in a particular way, but then if you're in a sort of a life event, so say a war breaks out in your country and so on, it can have such a long-lasting damaging effect. And I think that people spend a lot of money on things like personality. If you think about sort of the widely discredited Myers-Briggs and so on, it's a whole industry around personality, but it is malleable and
Changing
it can change.
what's the industry, the personality industry?
No, like Myers-Briggs, are you an INTP or whatever that, and people buy into that because they're so desperate to sort of be defined. I think that is a sort of a human trait as well.
Okay, so it's kind of important. Any thoughts, comments on this side? Where do we get a personality from?
The environment and the environment you grow up with, the company you keep, and this is how the personality grows.
Okay. Is there anything else to it? Yeah.
I think that also raises an interesting point of, say you have like a murderer, someone who's killed someone. If they grew up in a different environment to what they originally had, would they have committed the same crime? Would they have done the same thing?
Yeah. What do you think?
I don't know. I think some people are predisposed to
be criminal.
Yeah.
Okay. Is the criminal? Is the environment criminal that causes the murder, or is it?
I was just going to say, I think quite a lot is hardwired into your genes.
Right.
And I think, I've got 2 children. This is one. This is my firstborn.
The other one's serving time in a high security prison.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's watching a show.
Yeah.
But I think, they were different even in the womb.
Right.
Even in the womb, their personalities came through and they were different. And I also think that your position in the family, if you have siblings, is different. So I think that the firstborn, has to sort of try out everything for the first time.
Yeah.
They have to assert
they're
their
early
position
adopters,
in
so
the,
to speak.
in the family.
Hopefully they're not adopted, but they're early adopters.
Exactly, and I think if my 2 had been born the other way around, they'd be quite different people.
Okay, so the personality begins in the womb, and it could also be something to do with whether you're the elder brother, the younger brother, elder sister, younger sister.
I think that
twins. Yep.
You will be able to pick up different personalities from your parents, but as you grow up, you become more different from them and start to get your own personalities for things that you find interesting more to yourself.
Well, where does that come from? Where do these own interests come from?
It could be from your brain thinking that it can handle different things by itself without the help of your parents, and it decides that it wants to move into a different thing.
So your brain wants to be more independent?
Yeah.
Okay, so your brain wants to be more independent. So you want to develop your own personality. You actively try and be different from your parents.
Then you could say, sorry, what was your name? Christina was saying with the first child taking more responsibility, that's more to do with the environment rather than innate.
Yeah.
I personally don't think that you could be born with a personality.
Yeah.
I think it's definitely, if anything, 90 to 10 environment to innate.
9% environment.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's just simply because the amount of people, the amount of time you spend around different people, or even your icons like celebrities. You want to, be a part of that kind of lifestyle.
Okay,
and so change your personality to
so celebrities can actually dictate our personality. That's an interesting point as well. We're talking about where does our personality come from. Is it Christina or Christine? Christina's saying that her 2 children have different personalities in the womb. They're already different, which I find quite fascinating. But what was it? Horace, yeah. Horace is saying that it's 90% environment and celebrities as well. Icons, and people like that. I'll come to you in a second, Guy.
I think my friends can sort of affect who I am, because
it's down to your friends quite a lot as well.
And they do things and I want to do similar things, and then I change what I like to do.
Can you give us an example?
Well, a lot of my friends are very sort of happy people, and they try to be happy all of the time, and even when it's something difficult.
So they're sort of happy in difficult circumstances.
Yeah, so that's like a test, and then they're sort of oh, it will be fine, and everything, so.
Okay, so that's a certain kind of approach to testing circumstances of just a brave face.
Back to the idea of personality, it's on the same vein, I think. Personality being due to your environment, and what Ilakia said about a murderer being brought up in 2 different scenarios and maybe not being a murderer in one. it kind of makes you think, how much should someone be held accountable for their actions if all their actions are just the manifestation of all their environments before that, and they can't choose where they're born, and they could therefore can't choose where they live, the environments that then lead them to, say, kill someone. So should you really charge them for doing something which is not really their fault anyway? So I think personality can't just be said as your DNA and your environment. Otherwise, nothing you do is your fault ever.
Okay, all right. You can't be blamed for anything. If everything's all about either environment or genes, where's the choice? Do you actually have any choice? There has to be some free will. Otherwise, the whole criminal justice system falls apart. What were you going to say, Guy?
Well, one of the questions about the nature-nurture is part of us would like to believe that we're in control of ourselves, so therefore a lot of it is about the nurture and the environment, and we have self-control. And the other question is, yes, about the environment in which an individual is brought up. Funny thing is that if you take, unpleasant as they were, the Nazis, a lot of their children were brought up in nice, clean, white Aryan households and turned out to be deeply anti-Semitic racists.
Right.
No surprise there. Can we blame the children for their views?
Okay. Can we blame the children of Nazis for having Nazi views? You say no?
Not even just that. Can you blame a lot of Nazi Germany for conforming and fitting in with what they, like, if they didn't fit in, they would have been killed? Can you blame them for sort of giving into that and ending up becoming anti-Semitic? And
Not only that, but can you blame Hitler for what he did? Because if you're going on what you said, what he did is just based on his DNA, which he can't change, and just based on his environment, which he can't change either.
Okay.
So how is it his fault? I mean, if you're going to say that he's wrong, then you can't also say that your personality is just DNA and environment.
Okay.
That's a contradiction.
All right. Okay. So now we've moved on to Hitler. Were there extenuating circumstances for Hitler? They can't really be blamed.
I would disagree that there's that level of inevitability about the actions that happen in your life, and that you always do have an element of choice. Obviously, in Nazi Germany, it's a very extreme example, but you can see how the tide starts to change. You can see it in the country at the moment, on occasion. And I think it's being able to stand up at the point where you need to stand up, where you do have to take those risks. I don't think there's that level of inevitability to say, well, because somebody was in that household and they were brought up under those circumstances, 100% of the time it will always lead to that child being an underachiever or a murderer or whatever else. There's too much, human choice within that.
There is an element of choice going on somewhere.
Behavioural decision-making attitudes will always, creep through, even if it's the exception to the rule.
Okay. So I guess we're talking about this all came from where does our personality come from? But how come we've got bad people? Can we blame those bad people? Are they a product of their environment? Nazi Germany, can we blame those Nazis or blame somebody? Is it about the blame? That's what we're talking about here.
Of course you can blame them for what they did. There's always, however much you think, we're molded by the environment, humans always have some sort of instinctive imperative programmed in them that, there's harm to other people is morally wrong. People have morals,
so they instinctively know what's right and what's wrong.
Yeah.
So what's your view on personality?
Okay, hang on. What was that?
Where does that come from? The moral feeling that people have the right to do good or to do wrong, to learn what is right and what is wrong. Where does that come from?
I'm going to ask you. You're asking the question, but have you got an idea?
I have an idea, but I believe that people are born with this because we are moral beings. Because in every culture, people know that it's wrong to murder and it's wrong to do certain things, and this comes from something which is within the human being.
Okay. I'm just going to go to Ethan, but yep.
I think that even if you've got people around you who are doing bad things like murdering and stuff like that, you can still, even though you will be kind of built in to do something similar, you can stop yourself from doing that. You can try and change your own personality by trying to find different things other than those bad things, because you know that they're wrong.
Okay, so you do know that they're wrong. So what happened in Nazi Germany? Did people think that, we're doing it wrong, but come on, let's just do it anyway?
I think they knew that what they were doing was wrong, like the murdering, but they were doing it to achieve a greater good. Like I think he must have known, obviously, that killing all of those Jews wasn't, a morally good thing to do. But he was doing it to try and achieve a better, what he thought would be a better world for everyone.
Okay. Yeah.
I think it's safe to say you go.
Okay. Yep.
On the subject of murder, where we don't murder each other, which is I'm quite pleased about that.
Yeah.
Where does it come from? And it can come from I make a deal with everybody around the table, is that I won't murder them if they agree not to murder me.
Okay.
So there is a self-interest in clamping down on murder, and murder being wrong for me, because I don't want murder to happen, because I don't want to be murdered, and I want everybody else in the group to agree that. So you find that sort of those kind of morals come from ultimately quite a selfish motivation. I don't want to be murdered.
Okay, our moral self. I'm just bring in
Elakia.
Elakia.
Yeah, I don't know if that's something I don't necessarily think you're born with morals. It's more something you're taught, and I think that what you just brought up was quite an interesting point, because it sort of stems from a survival instinct almost. So I don't want to be murdered, so therefore I won't murder other people just as long as I stay alive, kind of thing. And I think in terms of morals, I don't know if we're so much born with them, more taught them, and it's something we learn from our environment and our surroundings.
So you think that that's just a learned thing, and we're not necessarily born with those morals of that innate sense of right and wrong? I'm going to come to you in a second, but did you want to say something?
I think that I think it's choosing between different bads. That if you feel threatened by another person or another race, then you'll do things which you know are not good. So you're constantly having to make choices between, one bad and another bad, and what you'd like to do. And it may be that in extreme cases, Hitler was saying we'll make a better society if we get rid of this problem, and by defining the race of people as bad and threatening, just as we define enemies in a war. So
okay, so it's actually this sense of threat, this sense of fear. Rightly or wrongly, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, what about altruism? No one's mentioned altruism. There's a burning building, there's somebody in the building, people run into the building to rescue somebody. They're not looking after themselves, they're not thinking of themselves, they're going in. Where does that come in?
Are they thinking, I want to get rescued from a burning building?
No, they go in because somebody else is in peril, and they go in and they save that person. That isn't self-interest at all. That's contrary to self-interest.
Okay, so people are definitely altruistic.
I think humans are social creatures, and we're born with that idea, socialization within your particular group, however you define that group, and which covers sort of altruism as well, and it covers the power of social norms. So talking about Nazi Germany and so on, it's something became a social norm to behave in a certain way. The overriding influence as a human being, as a social creature, is to go along with that social norm. Unfortunately, sometimes it has positive effects, sometimes it has detrimental effects.
Okay, what about the question of altruism? Is altruism a real thing, and how do we explain it? Can it be explained by the scientists? You're new to the table. Have you got anything to say? You're just listening at this point. Are you off? Give us a final thought.
Okay. Altruism, kindness.
I hadn't thought of anything.
What have you heard that's been interesting around the table?
Just to hear other people's ideas and how they think about different ways of personality and different ways of life is interesting.
Okay, it's interesting that people have got different ideas about this, where it all comes from. Have you got a final thought before you go? No. Okay, maybe not. Okay, so where do we want to take this conversation? Have we got have you got initial thoughts as well as a final thought? Okay. All right. So it looks like Where do we want to take this conversation? Where do we want to go? Come and have a seat. What's that?
I can keep going with altruism.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to, it's kind of up to you. I mean, I think it's interesting. Altruism, where does it come from? The burning building thing. Maybe we can just quickly get a round of names again. Come and have a seat, get involved in it. You don't have to say anything if you don't want to, but it'd be nice to have you around the table. And that goes out to everybody. My name's Mikey, what's your name?
Vanessa.
And
Rowan.
Raj.
Was it?
Raj.
Grant, yeah.
Guy again.
Elakia.
Horace. Jake. Tom. Joe.
Come and sit down, come on. So we're talking about altruism. Where does it come from? Is it actually a thing? What is altruism? Can someone just... So what's that?
So it's so selfless deeds, so doing good selflessly.
I mean, we had a lady just now say, if you observe someone in a burning building, you're going to go in and rescue that person, even though it's going to harm yourself. You don't know who that person is. Vanessa, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I think the exception to that is if you're standing with a group of other people in front of the burning building and no one else is doing anything.
Right.
And they've done some really terrifying social experiments on that. So
Right.
if lots of other people aren't helping, you won't help either. So altruism is also about the way we think it's appropriate to behave.
Okay, so if there's a whole bunch of other people standing just watching someone burning to death in the building, that can actually go against that burning person, because everyone's going, oh, they're not helping, so I'm not going to help either.
Given that nobody else is going into the burning building, they have clearly all decided that going to the burning building is very dangerous, and I'm going to take their advice and not go in either.
Yep.
So
okay.
it's a sort of essentially a vote. Everybody's agreed that that's really dangerous. Also, when you do rescue somebody, what do other people do? Do they just shrug their shoulders and go meh, or do they really praise you and load you up with lots of social credit for being the brave person who rescued the child?
So being altruistic is high status.
Something absolutely. We give a lot of status to those big you look at all our heroes that rescued, that saved, that sacrificed. All these altruistic behaviours are then socially loaded with high status.
Okay. So we're altruistic because we want other people to actually give us credit, give us plaudits for rescuing people from burning buildings and other heroic acts, not because we care about the people in the burning buildings. Is that what you're saying? Or do we actually care about...
That is one aspect of altruism. The other one is looking back at sort of human evolution within extended family groups, where altruism develops as a genetically selfish behaviour. You rescue other members of your genetic group.
Right.
When you then take people out of that group and put them in a large city, some of that behaviour still exists. You're still motivated to rescue people. You've kind of forgotten they're not your relatives.
Okay, so it's a kind of like vestigial behavioural trait that comes from when we used to just hang out in family groups. Altruism. Hang on, excuse me.
I think there's another element as well, which is just that we're very good pattern recognition machines, and when we see reciprocal actions happening, we try and repeat them because we want the material gains. And I think a lot of it is just kind of like monkey see, monkey do. If you get some social kudos from doing this thing that necessitates in you basically hooking up with a partner, which is invariably what all human beings are motivated to do, then we do things more.
Okay, so it's see monkey, do monkey. That's where altruism comes from. Altruism, where does it come? Is there a kind of altruistic element? Are the likes of Guy and Rowan being a little bit cynical here? That we don't care really about other people, we more care about just being like a high status person?
So I think some people don't really care about the status. They will do it anyway, almost as a reflex.
Yeah.
And sometimes they don't want recognition. They will just even shy from a thank you, or they'll just accept a quick thank you and run away from any praise. Or so it suggests that perhaps some people certainly are not in the social reward system. That is nowadays there's a lot of obsession with being rewarded and being visibly a good Samaritan, or
visibly
all this
praised.
stuff.
But there's not everyone that's altruistic seeks praise. Yeah.
I mean, this might be quite a cynical viewpoint as well, but I think that it's just sort of ingrained in us from prehistoric times, when our natural instinct was just to survive and for our colony to survive. And so if we see one of our colony in danger, our natural instinct is to save them so that we can survive as a group. And so maybe nowadays we might not have that same, it might not be the same like that. They might shy away from the social status. But the reason that you said it was a reflux, well, I think that might just be because it's just ingrained in us to save one of our own.
So it comes from back to this argument that it comes from back in the day, when this kind of like mythical past, when we were in the, running around in groups around this kind of primal forest or something like. I'm not quite sure what the vision is here, but we're just trying to help our kin, and then that's just ingrained in us. Is that what it's about?
How do we explain the behavior of animals who saved other animals, well, not from at all the same species? So we've had examples of animals saving, completely different animals, not looking like them at all.
Like, what's that?
There have been cases of dolphins helping swimmers in trouble and putting to the surface and basically pushing them back to the shore.
And I guess like the other way around as well, swimmers helping dolphins too.
I think the dolphins helping the swimmers is a more interesting situation in regards to altruism, because how is that working out? Because if dolphins swim in family packs again, so they may well help each other, but it's interesting seeing that extend to help the swimmers.
Why do dolphins help swimmers? Are they altruistic as well? What are they getting out of it when they go back to their dolphin kin? Are they getting social plaudits for going, oh, well done, you helped out that poor innocent human being? Is that what's going on? Or I guess we don't know. We're back to the anthropocentric issue here. Are dolphins altruistic by and large? And why? That's what we're talking about at the moment, yeah.
I've heard the dolphins are actually a little bit horrible.
Really?
From what I gather, they're a bit rapey when it comes to reproduction.
They're a bit what?
Rapey.
They're rapists?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think their reproductive habits are very...
They display a range of reproductive strategies, would be the polite way of putting it. Yes.
Okay.
Some of which are more consensual than others.
Okay. So, but that's dolphins. We're talking about altruism here. I mean, is altruism like a lot of people around the table have sort of suggested that altruism is a kind of an illusion, or that there's always something in it for the person, the altruistic person. Is that true? Do we believe that's what it is, or the other explanation has been that it's kind of a vestigial behaviour from back in the day?
I would say, especially with the rise of like social media, people are mainly doing things to be videoed in order to be seen to be doing good things.
Right.
Like every time I go on Twitter, I'll see another story about someone saving a cat from a tree or something like that. And it's just, the level of retweets or likes that video gets determines how helpful or how altruistic that person is, rather than the sense that they actually want to do it to help another person.
Is that a bad thing though, if it's getting cats rescued from trees? I'm just going to go to...
Yeah, exactly. That's just what I was going to say. Is it necessary, as long as cats are getting rescued from trees, is it a bad thing that people are getting recognition? Like maybe they deserve that recognition, even if they're just doing it for the recognition.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, they've gone up that tree to save the cat. So.
Are we being down on altruism just because people get the social plaudits, because they get the, let's put it into contemporary terms, the likes, the retweets? Does that make it bad that they're getting?
Well, I think that there are a lot of times when you think, oh well, I mean, yeah, sure. If you want to do this for these imaginary internet points, by all means do it. But you've got to actually do the thing first. Like I saw someone Snapchatting a car accident and then calling for an ambulance.
Okay.
It's like you've got to figure out your priorities.
Okay, so the Snapchat comes after the call to 999.
We may well have a situation where altruism developed in one environment, sort of a genetic selfish mechanism in early family groups, but has moved on and is now expressed much more commonly for the likes and for the social kudos.
All right. If people are altruistic for Facebook likes or for Twitter likes, is that a bad thing? Is that just the due rewards?
It's a good thing, but the wrong process to get there. So it depends whether you call that wrong or right. I mean, a good outcome, but completely the wrong motives behind it.
Okay.
Yeah, well, if they're all doing good things, then whatever their motivation, there's still a good outcome. So.
Okay. All right. Okay.
I would say, if that camera wasn't pointing at them, would they do the same thing?
Okay.
It's still immoral. It's still immoral to do something good, but not for a good reason.
Okay.
Because
but being liked by other people, is that not a moral reason in itself? Is that
no, that's not moral. That's doing the action, that's sort of using people as a means to an end, rather than an end in themselves.
Okay.
It's using people to get to some conclusion where, it benefits you who are doing the action, instead of doing something good because you should do something good because it's the right thing to do.
Okay, so it's more that you should be doing it because it's the right thing. It's not because of the Facebook likes or the Snapchat. I don't really understand Snapchat, so someone's going to have to explain that to me. Yeah.
I think a good example of that is when you get celebrities like Justin Bieber and a lot of people like that doing things like seeing kids who have cancer. They go to hospitals and see kids who have cancer and they go with a camera crew so that it's all videoed and photographed and shared on social media. So they're making that kid smile, but they're doing it for the completely wrong reasons. They're doing it so that they get that good PR. Like, is that moral?
Okay, is it moral for Justin Bieber to go to the cancer hospital with the camera crew, doing the right thing for the wrong reason? Or is it the right reason?
I mean, I think it's sort of another variant on the age-old question. If a celebrity visits a child in a hospital and no one's there to share it, does it make a sound?
Okay, interesting. It's interesting. Yeah.
Maybe the act of altruism there isn't actually the visit, but the kind of spreading of the knowledge about the incident that they're covering, and so maybe the camera crew being there is actually part of the altruistic act.
Because it's kind of saying this is good behaviour.
I'm trying to be less cynical now because I think I'm way too cynical.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we do.
When Justin Bieber visits with his camera crew that films both Justin Bieber being wonderful and all the poor children, brings up the profile, that one you can argue that's a win-win situation.
Yeah.
If you take the camera crew out, that is a win-lose situation. And yet there's an argument that win-lose is more moral than win-win. And I don't think it is.
Okay, so you think it's better to have the camera crew?
Sometimes we have to take what we can get, and it's the morally the right thing to do to take what we can get sometimes.
Okay, so it's morally more correct to inform people that you're doing good things than other people. As we've already said, with the burning building scenario, more people are likely to go and help rescue if they see other people doing it. So it's actually more moral to tweet your good deeds or whatever social media platform you choose.
I feel like if you had the camera crew for a certain amount of time and then you turned it off, then that would be fine because you're showing that you're there for them, but not for the camera crew. You still get it put out there.
Okay, so so you're saying have the camera crew there, but don't film?
Not the whole time.
Okay, so just have them there for like a period of time, and then have a non-videoed section.
Having them there for a short period of time and then turning it off just sort of suggests that you're having the camera crew there for the specific reason to get it out, to get it to the public. If you have a camera crew there and you're filming the entire time, then then that could be the win-win situation instead of just off and on.
Just because something's the better thing to do doesn't make it the moral thing to do.
Okay,
either.
so better is different from moral.
Yeah, I think if you think about it, if you think rationally in any sort of moral situation, most people would come to the same, conclusion in that situation. Like if you think about it rationally, it's wrong to kill, but in some circumstances like euthanasia and things like that, it's still the better thing to do. People know it's still morally wrong.
Right, I see.
But it can be considered the better thing to do in certain situations.
So moral isn't the same as rationally better. There's a difference there. Okay, interesting. We're going to a bit of a deep moral. It's been all moral this morning, actually, from the vegetarianism right down through to the horse personality, right through to now about like tweeting your good deeds. It's morally not right to tweet it, or morally worse to tweet it, but rationally better is what the consensus on this side of the table. Any thoughts? You've not said much so far?
No, I completely agree with that. Like, there's, it kind of opens the door for some people to do more like of the moral things without people seeing. Like, if they know, like,
if they know other people are doing it.
Yeah, that's a kind of why it's more logical to do the publicising side of things. But I agree. I think it's more of a better thing to do rather than a moral thing to do.
This is an interesting idea that moral is different from better, and it's not something that I've heard before. But I'm picking up on this. Guy, what are you going to say?
It's the sort of the.
Hang on, sorry, Guy. Have you got a final thought? Sorry to interrupt. Give us a final thought before.
I don't
you go.
like Justin Bieber. That's my.
You don't like that? Okay. Is that a moral decision or is it more of an aesthetic?
I think he'll have the camera crew there just to get publicity.
Okay.
I don't like it.
So it's a moral judgment about Justin Bieber.
Final thoughts. Do they have to be relevant?
No.
Love yourself and love others.
Okay. Come and have a seat on the table of chat. This is Talkaoke. At the moment we're talking about, is it morally wrong or is it right to tweet your good deed, to put it on Facebook? Is it better not to do that or to just tell other people that you're doing good stuff?
If you do the right thing and you get the publicity out of it, then you've obviously got a gain out of it. So we don't think it is as altruistic as just doing it anyway. And we do seem to be giving altruism a very high moral place.
Right.
And yet, if Justin Bieber goes to the cancer ward, he publicises that and publicises the visit, that also publicises the idea that it's good to go and visit people in cancer wards, but by golly, they need those visits.
Yeah.
They could do with some human interaction. So there is moral good in the advertising of it that doesn't benefit just Justin Bieber, but it benefits other cancer sufferers. And likewise, if you show people rescuing the cat or rescuing somebody from the fire, these are all things that we would like people to do. These are all the kind of social norms we'd like to push. So there is moral benefit in advertising these things.
Yep.
So I think we should.
Okay. Is it more moral to tweet what you do, to put it on Facebook because it encourages others? That's what we're talking about here. We've got quite a few new faces around the table. Maybe we should just quickly. Oh, you got something to say?
It works both ways, and it depends on your primary motivation. If you're doing it out of a sense of satisfying your ego, because you need to get that publicity for yourself, then there is that potential for self-gain, in which case it would be immoral because you're not doing it out of a sense of altruism.
Right.
You're not doing it for the sake of inspiring others, you're doing it for gratification of yourself.
Okay.
But it can work the other way, because if your primary motivation is to inspire others, so basically, whether it's moral or immoral, is down to the originator of the deed. Why are they doing it?
Okay, but what about if they get like an ego boost from inspiring others?
Brilliant timing with the applause.
Yep.
And I just wanted a quiet weekend, never mind.
Yeah. Okay, well, I mean, this is a great example. You've got the big round of applause and it feels great. What's wrong with that? To get those social plaudits?
Because I wasn't expecting it.
Okay, you weren't after it, you were just saying your thing.
I mean, even if someone is just doing it to get these likes, the ego, the imaginary internet points, they're still doing it. It's the world is better off than if they just left it without doing anything, because if I do this, it'll only be for the internet points.
So you think that kind of like the ego gain could actually be a good thing?
Well, I think that, I mean, obviously doing it also for your own gain isn't as morally good as pure unadulterated altruism, but there's still some good in it.
Okay. All right, so let's just get some names actually, because we've got a whole lot of new faces. So we've got Guy here. Are you off? Give us a final thought before you go.
It's been great fun. Thank you.
Okay, we're here all weekend, so do come back if you see anything interesting. If you got, we'll probably be talking about something completely different. Right now, we're talking about this kind of, in a way, this kind of curious thing about altruism that it's got to be not for our own gain, to be, to be moral. But anyway, let's get some names. My name's Mikey. What's your name?
Divya.
And
Ellie.
Sam. Remy.
Annika. Coco.
What is it?
Coco.
Coco. Yep.
Michelle.
Imi.
And
Lachlan.
Was it?
Lachlan.
Lachlan.
Yeah.
Okay. Whoops. So where do we want to go with this conversation?
I work for a charity, and I sort of disagree with the assumption that doing something good is, whether it's actually good is based on why you do it. I think I always think when people donate to our charity that most people help charities because it makes them feel good, and I don't think
So
that's
it's not about
necessarily a bad
being
thing.
liked by other people.
I don't think it matters if it is about being liked by other people. You're still doing a good thing, and I think we should in some ways we should judge our acts based on the outcome and the impact rather than the motivation behind it.
Can I ask you what the charity is?
It's child.org. It's an
Right.
international development charity.
Okay, and people just give you money.
Yeah.
Do they
Ideally.
want anything out of it?
I think they want to do something nice and they want to save the world, but I think lots of them want to tell people that they've done something nice, and lots of them sponsor their friend who's running a marathon so that
Right.
friend knows that they like them, and that
Okay.
is also fine and a nice thing to do.
But the primary motivation is just to make the world better, just for the sake of it. Okay.
So yeah, I'm not. I agree with you. And in terms of what the primary motivation is, I'm not suggesting that to discount that. But it's down to it's an equation. What the motivation is behind the person giving or publicising their good deeds, but also who's actually going to benefit from it. And if it's somebody who really is going to benefit from it, then it doesn't matter what the motivation is, because the end result for the people who need it the most is going to be positive.
Okay.
So basically, where is that effort going to be directed?
So it's about just getting this, like, the best result for everybody, for those that need it. I guess the question really here is: are people really nice, or are they not? It sounds like the people that donate to your charity are nice, just nice people, and they're just doing it to make the world a better place. Are we being too cynical here with all this?
Could it be sometimes that people give to charity because they lead horrible lives? So sometimes they can be selling weapons, for example.
Yeah.
And at the same time they're giving loads to charity because they feel bad about, or for marketing.
Yeah. So it's kind of like the offsetting idea. They're moral offsetting.
Could be moral offsetting.
Yeah. Okay. Are people being nice because they're kind of doing a really dodgy job selling weapons or something like that?
Aren't you sort of questioning where the value in the action lies, whether it sort of means to an end? So if you're actually, wanting to donate to charity because you've done something horrible, is that still as valuable as donating to charity from a good motivation?
Yeah.
So is it the same? Is it sort of the end that matters, or is it the intention behind it?
Okay. Well, let's go back to Ellie. I mean, do you donate to charity, or do you feel that because you work for a charity, you don't need to donate to other charities?
I donate to a lot of charities, yeah, and I think...
Is it to offset all the bad things you've done?
She's a really nice person.
Yeah, partly. Even if it is like a tenner's a tenner, like the charity's going to do as much good. I think it's more sensible to judge the charity on what they achieve with the money than it is to judge the person from what motivations they have from giving it.
All right. I kind of like the idea that people just give you money just because they're nice and you're doing a good thing. Okay, let's spread this out. What do you think? Can people just be nice and they're altruistic and they care about other people? They want to change the world for the better?
I think that there are people who do good deeds, but it's very rare nowadays. And then when we do see a certain deed done on Facebook or Instagram, we all get like, oh my god, this guy did something, because we never see our humanity is not really there anymore. We kind of care. We don't really care about each other anymore. Like,
do you think we need to see that more?
Yeah, because when someone gives like clothes or money to someone on the street, it's, oh my god, this guy is something really, really good. Like, I wish I could do something like that. But I also agree with her, because it's not. Sometimes I believe that they're just this person's just trying to get publicity and then try and like boost their ego. But I think it's the personal satisfaction of that person who, like, if their sole purpose is to bring like good towards that person, then that's a good thing. But then with your point of how, regardless of whatever the point is about their personal satisfaction, so long as that person is being aided in a certain way, like with your charity, it doesn't really matter. But like, just for example, Pablo Escobar, he did drugs and everything, but he always built like schools and churches and built hospitals for in Colombia. So I guess that's kind of a mitigation.
Right. Okay. So Pablo Escobar, drug baron. But he built schools and hospitals, so there was a nice element to it. We're talking about the phenomenon of niceness, really, here. Human niceness. Why are people nice? Are they actually really nice, or are they just offsetting bad things? Ellie, we've sort of discovered, works for a charity. She also gives to other charities. If working for a charity wasn't enough, she's giving to other charities. And what's your name?
Sam.
Sam says Ellie's just a really nice person. Where is this coming from? Why is she so nice? And that's what even Pablo Escobar's nice because he built hospitals, and schools and stuff like that. Lachlan.
I think, especially when it comes to things like cash donations, or just money in general, it's a lot like it does feel like you're buying something. Say the donation there.
Oh yeah, you've got £2.
£2. Now
let's have a round of applause for Lachlan. Let's give him some social plaudits.
Yeah, but it's exactly that. How much of that £2 was me buying the appreciation of the people around me who saw my giving that £2, and how much was me buying the satisfaction that I've helped some children? But I think another question would be, does it even matter? Because in the end, it's still £2.
So in a way, all of this is not that much. As long as the money keeps flowing to child.org, it doesn't matter where it comes from. And why it's being given. It's just it's just a flow of money.
It kind of comes down to, like, for example, if there's a millionaire, they give like £500,000 to a charity. Whereas if there's someone who's homeless on the street and they give a couple pence, like which donation is worth more?
Yeah.
Like,
which one would you rather receive?
The £1 million, yeah, sorry. But I think, what's really nice about your job is that you are selling that nice feeling to other people as well. So like I used to like selling things that I'm in like marketing, and I used to like selling things that were really useful to people and that people wanted and that helped them with their lives.
What kind of things?
And boring stuff like running builders merchants magazines that helped builders merchants run better builders merchants. But I got satisfaction from that, and as a charity, I still got that same satisfaction out of people enjoying doing stuff for your charity and enjoying donating. So I think it's nice to be able to do both.
So even selling bricks and mortar, you got satisfaction from selling the building materials. Final thought?
Sometimes it's better to just do good rather than debating about it. Just do it.
Okay. Are we wasting time here just talking about why we're being good when we actually should just get out there and do good things? Well, mind you, we've got Child.org has received £2 from this debate.
Just one thing. I think we shouldn't confuse altruism with the mechanics of giving money. So when Pablo Escobar gives money to charity, this is just the mechanics of a drug baron giving money to charity. That's not altruism.
Yeah.
Altruism is something that we've talked about. That's something
Pablo
completely
Escobar
different.
can't be altruistic.
No, I don't think that's defined as altruism if he kills, people and kills a lot of people through the drug trafficking. So it's not really altruism. When he gives money to charities, that's not altruism. It's just he gives money to charity. That's it.
Okay, interesting.
But to be fair, we don't know the motivations as why he built the churches and the schools and the rest of it. We don't know that, so we can't really judge that, I don't think.
Okay, so the motivation, the sort of internal mechanism that's going on in someone's head is important somehow. Okay, interesting. Give us a final thought before you go.
Oh God, I don't know.
Final thought?
Thank you so much, Lachlan. I will donate your £2. Thank you. Really appreciate it.
Okay, all right. Is it time for a switch around? I think Yeah. Well, that's very altruistic. Although you're actually getting paid for that as well. But so we're going to have a change of personality, a change of personnel. We're going to have Rowan in the middle. We're going to keep the conversation going. It gives me a chance to say my bit around the outside. But let's give Rowan a round of applause. He's going to jump in the middle of the table. We're going to keep this conversation going. Whether we're going to keep talking about niceness or whether we move on to a different subject, it's up to you to decide. And when I say you, I mean you. So come and sit down. This is not a spectator sport. It is a participatory medium. Let me give you this mic and then the other mic.
Sure thing.